Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to go through my top 10 tips for Section 1 of the GAMSAT, and make sure to stick to the end to see my golden tips on how to improve at Section 1. I'm Melvin from MedicMind, a second year medical student from Monash University, and if you're interested in the GAMSAT, medicine, and getting into medical school, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the MedicMind YouTube channel. GAMSAT Section 1 is Reasoning in Humanities. Students normally perceive Section 1 to be the easiest part of the GAMSAT. However, practice is essential, and this is a great section to pick up extra marks. So, go make a coffee and watch this guide on how to gain top tips and achieve a high mark in GAMSAT Section 1. Following the outbreak of COVID-19, the GAMSAT format and timings have changed, so here is a new breakdown of the timings and disciplines. So, for GAMSAT Section 1, the total number of questions you have is 47 multiple choice questions. You have 6 minutes reading time, 64 minutes writing time, adding up to 70 minutes total test time. These timings allow you to spend approximately 1 minute 20 seconds per question. Here are my top 10 tips for developing your strategy and your approach to Section 1. Tip number 1 is to practice. The best way to become familiar with Section 1 is to practice the questions. This will help you get used to the format and the MCQ style of answering questions. This will also help you identify particular question types that you're weaker at. You can find the official ACER questions in the description below. Tip number 2 is to become familiar with the different styles of GAMSAT Section 1 questions. There are many different types of questions that can be asked in GAMSAT Section 1. Become familiar with each one of these and practice for them individually. Although there is overlap in the approach that you need for some of them, there are more specific aspects required for certain questions, such as poetry questions. There's fiction, non-fiction, cartoons and illustrations, charts and diagrams, and quotes, comments, and proverbs. Tip number 3 is to become familiar with the specific GAMSAT Section 1's questions asked. Within each style of question, there are specific questions that may be asked. Take some time to become familiar with these and develop an approach to answering them. For example, here are some of the common questions asked in poetry units. Interpretation of the poem, interpretation of the specific line, recognition of a poetic technique, interpretation of the poet's feelings or perspectives, and interpretation of a subject's feelings or perspectives. Tip number 4 is to time yourself when answering the questions. You are given 70 minutes, which includes 6 minutes of reading time, to answer the 47 multiple choice questions in GAMSAT Section 1. This allows you to spend approximately 1 minute and 20 seconds to complete each question. Timing yourself while practicing questions can give you an idea on whether your answering speed is sufficient. It's important to pace yourself. Not only to ensure that you can answer all the questions, but you also want to maximize your time. Therefore, you may find that you have more time, and in that case, you should slow down and allow yourself to fully interpret the passages. Tip number 5 is to increase your reading speed. Students generally find that their reading speed is not quick enough. It can be hard to read large passages under time pressure, and increasing your time dedicated to reading can help you increase your speed. Whether it's a magazine, newspaper, or book, these will all help. Here are some suggestions. Reading these may also allow you to skim text more and may help you identify specific parts in which the answers are held. For example, abstracts follow a specific structure, and becoming familiar with it will allow you to spend less time looking for answers within texts. The other advantage to reading more in your spare time is that it may inspire you with your writing pieces in Section 2. Tip number 6 is to make a note of unfamiliar words. Highlight and jot down any words you encounter while practicing that are unfamiliar. It is worth taking the time to look them up in a dictionary and learning them to give you a chance at comprehending a passage. Sometimes you might be asked to define a word, and in this case, you should look into the context in which the word is used. Reading the sentence prior and after the word can help, but whilst you're practicing, use a dictionary. Tip number 7 is to study literary techniques and poetic devices. You may be asked to interpret the use or effect of a specific poetic device or literary device. The only way to tackle these questions is to be familiar with the specific device. Allow yourself time to become familiar with these. Here are some examples of poetic techniques that feature in the GAMSAT Section 1. Feel free to take some time to read through these and take a screenshot if need be. And here are some literary terms that you should familiarize yourself with. Tip number 8 is to create a question log. As mentioned, there are common questions that come up in specific styles of questions. As these frequently appear, it's a good idea to make note of the questions you find difficult. Keep a log of these and make sure to practice these. Tip number 9 is to read Shakespeare. Shakespearean passages may appear in GAMSAT Section 1. The language and sentence structure is very different in these texts, and therefore it's a good idea to read some Shakespearean passages beforehand. You can find some Shakespeare text in the description below. Tip number 10 is to read the passage carefully. No prior knowledge is required for GAMSAT Section 1, therefore all the answers are provided within the passage or the information presented. So, make sure to read the passage fully and refer back to it for the answers. If you have any further questions about GAMSAT Section 1, please leave a comment below and I'll get back to you on that. And head to the link in the description to find out more about our tutoring options. So, what is a good score for Section 1 of the GAMSAT? For Section 1, a good score is anything above 60, where the average score is 57 to 61. How can I improve my GAMSAT score? Preparation for the GAMSAT is essential. Preparation will help you achieve higher marks. It will also help you build your confidence and reduce your anxiety and stress on test day. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you learned a thing or two about Section 1 of the GAMSAT. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Make sure to like the video and share this with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Medic Mind YouTube channel to never miss a video.